right now. Nile Lawrence Stample, former NFL defensive tackle for the Cleveland Browns, won a national title for the good guys in Tallahassee, that, of course, being Florida State. I took in the game. We dominated the tailgate. And then the game began, and, good drive. They didn't get a call. And then before you know it, it's 28-3 Miami. How you doing?
It happened quick. I've been better. But that was a tough one. That was a really eye-opening game for me, for sure.
We talked about this a little bit last week. Admittedly, I'm wired differently, but I have a much more of a problem with the way they lost to a team like Virginia than losing to a rival like Miami, because I looked at this game. Miami's a better team. They have better players. The one against Virginia sticks to me much longer because in my world, you can't spot them 14 points with 2 turnovers. They should have beaten Virginia. How do you feel when you compare? You played against them.
Yeah, my issue with why Miami was more of an issue for me was I think that with UVA, it was more situational and more coaching specifically on certain aspects of it, whereas Miami was more of a personnel issue. When you have a personnel issue, it's something that can't be fixed with a snap of a finger. It's not something that we can go into the coaching room and say, hey, let's fix this today. We are not doing that anymore. This is something that has to be tried and true of what's going on. I know what we haven't done well in the recruiting. I know we haven't been able to go in any of the top classes, but this past game showed me that we aren't in the same realm. We don't compare. And when you have to sit there and realize that, unfortunately, we have to stack the box in order to stop the run, which I think some of our guys did well. I'm not going to be down them too bad. I think some of our guys really did good. But if you have to stack the box in order to stop the run and then we get exposed in the pass, that means that we don't have anyone to do. And we have to sit there with our hands tied. That is a situation, unfortunately, Norvell has put us in. And it's really tough to stomach, but it was an eye-opening game again for me.
Virginia really exposed Florida State by being able to run right at them. Tony White and company, they made adjustments. They did a solid job stopping the run against the U. But as you pointed out, you have man-to-man coverage, one-on-one coverage with Daniels and Malachi Tony. They exposed Florida State's secondary for 4 touchdowns on Saturday night.
Yeah, and we weren't able to adjust because we had to make sure we accounted for the run. So when you don't have options because of personnel and we can't get ourselves out of it, what do you look to in order to substitute that? And it seems like Norvell has looked to the portal to do that, which is really difficult. We've seen it time and time again. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think that the portal very much has a place in this game in this day and age. But the culture has to get rebuilt in order for us to develop players that are bought in. And that doesn't seem like it is the case. We had the effort. We fought. We did a lot of things that I thought was admirable in that game. I don't want to say that, but there was situations that we could not control, and we have to regain control, or else we're going to be another team in the ACC.
I agree with you there. I thought last year's team at times quit. This year, they have not. They're down 14-0 against Virginia. They come back. They're down 28-3 to Miami. They put up 19 unanswered in the fourth quarter and miss on an onside kick. So, yes, they're fighting. But what I also think is crystal clear, Nile, with Pitt coming in 3 days, you can't spot teams 14 points and expect to come back and win on any given Saturday.
You cannot. You have to play sound football. There's no way we weren't going to pay for those turnovers that we had. But as far as Tommy, I thought that he's a dog. He's a fighter. You can see it in his eyes that he wants it. He has 10 brothers and sisters. He is a person that is a fighter. He's always has been. So I'm happy that he is on our team, and I think that he can add a ton of value, as well as a lot of other players on the offense. So I'm not going to completely down them, but I would like to see us clean up and control the things that we can control more consistently. And I want to see us play a complete game come Pitt.
Yeah, and they're going to have to. Again, they're a big favorite here, 10.5 points. The matchup coming up at noon. The schedule hasn't favored them. Now, the night game certainly did against Miami, but 2 Friday night games, a 10:30 game at Stanford coming up, this one at noon. I would expect a late arriving crowd, not nearly as many this week. So all of a sudden that home field, which you thought would be a difference if you picked them to knock off Miami, I don't think that's a factor at all Saturday at high noon.
in my perspective, I still do think it's a factor, and the reason why that is because of personnel. You have Mason for Pitt, who is now their true freshman quarterback, who is going to be coming in for their first away game. So I think honestly anywhere would have been a good opportunity, much less in Doak Campbell Stadium, to kind of rattle this guy. So I think it will still play in our hand, even though it is a 12 o'clock game. I think that's going to be an upper hand for us.
All right, we really credited Nile Lawrence Stample, our guest. Of course, he's a business owner right here in town. Nile Lawrence Stample played on the 2013 National Championship team, also defensive coordinator or defensive tackle for the Cleveland Browns, and is our Florida State analyst. All right, we really credited Mike Norvell preseason after the victory at Alabama, handing the keys to Gus Malzahn, handing the keys to Tony White. Now the numbers are scary. He's 1-9 in his last 10 Atlantic Coast Conference games. He's 2-13 in his last 15 games against Division I opponents. What's going on with Coach Mike Norvell?
Norvell's got to get it together. And when you look at the personnel that we have on our team, I think that he did do a good job of bringing in, even though I wish it wasn't so heavily put on the portal, he did a good job of picking guys that can be able to push through and fight. So that's one thing that will be a little bit different this season. As far as statistically, it doesn't look good for us as far as going in this, because Norvell has historically not done well on getting himself out of ruts. But with guys like Randy Pittman, who I want to talk about Randy Pittman. Yeah. He doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah, I agree
he
with
has been a Swiss Army knife for us. He's done so many things. He's been so reliable to where when we have a Deuce Robinson available, Pittman is that next up at this point. We are hoping in order to get the ball into his hands because he's able to make plays. He's disciplined. He can block. He could do a lot of different things that add so much value to us being able to get positive points and be able to make things happen. So I want to make sure I shout out Randy Pittman because he has been extremely fun to watch this season for sure. But outside of that, it's us making sure that we are in the best shape possible to be able to not make the mistakes and push the ball down the field effectively without kicking ourselves in the butt.
Yeah. And, you know, your circle and my circle, older. I have an older circle that lived, during the dominance from 87 to 2000. Certainly the guys mostly that you speak with are a little bit younger, but I'm getting it from all directions. I'm getting it that it's going to take some time, and I'm like, it's year 6. I get the other side that says he's never going to be able to win. He's not built for it. What's your circle like? What's the message you get on a week-to-week basis when it comes to Mike Norvell in year 6?
The few that I talk to, because I talk to a lot of them, but as far as like real personal on what's going on with this is the standard has been changed. The goalpost has been moved is honestly a better analogy. Yeah. The goalpost has been moved. And what happens when the goalpost moves, you don't really realize that it has moved. So you end up going into a season to where you're happy in order to be able to fight at the end of a Miami game, which realistically, that's not really something that should already happen. But again, we're happy for it. And you go into a situation to where you're hoping to win a conference game against Pitt. You're hoping to win it. And if you do win it, you'll be satisfied. That is the issue that we're having. Can Norvell figure it out? I hope so, because again, I think that he embodies what Florida State Seminoles really do well, and that's being intentional. That's being a good person. That's being what he says and what he represents. But you got to be a dog on that recruiting trail. Mm-hmm. We got to be able to bring in guys in the trenches. We cannot allow us to have more guys and DBs sitting on the bench than having guys that we're developing that can be trench quarterback getters and running back killers. We have to have that. That's got to be a thing, and that's got to be a priority for the recruiting class coming up.
Jordan Travis is going the other way on this. He's saying spend more, send more, put the money into the program. And, I happen to disagree with some of the moves they've made lately that has cost a lot of money, including the stadium. I thought the stadium was fine the way that it was. I would have put the money. I mean, they spent $4 million on Carson Beck. What did Florida State pay? $800,000 on Thomas Castellanos. Well, you see the difference in the game, and that has been something that you're going to have to deal with on a week-to-week basis. Colleges are spending money. What did you think of Jordan Travis coming out and saying it that way?
It makes sense. Jordan Travis has a really close tie to Norvell. He believes in Norvell, which if I'm him, I probably believe him in as well, because Travis made one of the biggest jumps that you've ever seen in college football. He went from being a solid, good college quarterback to being really elite. Like that jump was significant, as well as when you have a coach buy in to a point to where you have a opportunity to go to the playoffs, you're going to believe in him. And I don't blame him, because I do, again, Norvell is so intentional that if he could figure it out, he would be absolutely ideal for Florida State. So I'm still rooting for him, but history shows that it doesn't show him being able to actually get over the hump to be able to recruit in a way that will allow us to not be a regular schmegular ACC team.
Yeah. I tell you what, this game is so important to knock off Pittsburgh to kind of eliminate some of these negative numbers that have been going on, because I tell you, 4 of the last 6 are on the road. And you go to Stanford at 10:30 at night. You go to Clemson. You know they're going to be ready. I mean, Clemson is absolutely going to be. NC State is always a difficult place to play. We'll see how they handle things this weekend at Notre Dame. And, of course, that's the week before going to Florida, which all of a sudden 1 week, it's only been a week, but it looks like the Gators are a rejuvenated program.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough schedule. It's going to be there's nothing easy about it other than us just not turning over the ball and us just doing the job that we need to do. That's the only easy thing that I would see, is something that we can actually control within our own sphere. But yeah, going up against Pitt, that is our next hurdle that we have to jump. I wish it wasn't going to be as close of a game, because I do think it's going to be close, just because Pitt is a solid team, and Narduzzi historically gives Norvell a problem, and he has give Tommy a problem as well. They like to blitz. They like to do certain things that will cause issues with Gus's offense and what it is that we do. I do think that we play well in it, and I do think that we can rally, because if we do rally, we will win this game. And I think that we do, because we have the players. I think our roster looks better, at least for this particular matchup.
They're 3-2 in their last 2 weeks. They lost in overtime at West Virginia. They scored 31-24 in overtime. They scored 27 in a loss at home against Louisville, lost 34-27. Last week they beat BC 48-7.
Yeah, and they beat him with their true freshman quarterback.
I know they did.
And you want to see what you love is being able to see their true freshman quarterback in BC instead of starting against us. Mm-hmm. So now you have film on them.
Good point.
Because one thing you hate is we would be in the film room and we're watching high school film from a quarterback that they're saying that might play, and now we're watching high school film. But it's something that you have to do, and that's something that we would have been doing this week. But instead, we're able to watch Boston and see his tendencies and see how he plays. He can run the ball. He can get jiggy in that backfield. He can get an extra yard. He can get a first down. So that's something that we're going to have to watch out for.
Mason Heinschel is his name. He's out of Oregon. He's out of Oregon, Ohio. 33 of 45, 73.3% completion percentage, 359 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Also was run it 10 times, 28 yards. So it's a good point you make as far as film study. All right, what did we forget? Anything else you want to mention?
No, I just think us going into Pitt, the mindset has to be, let's forget last week. We have so much to play for. Norvell has so much to play for. These players do. And last year, an issue that we heard was effort and players not really trying. I don't think it was more effort than it was people pushing the boat in the same direction. You're talking about players that are from high school. They've been playing and working their behinds off since Pop Warner in order to come and play at Florida State. You think that they're now going to get on the field and not give effort? They're going to give effort, but it has to be the right effort directed in the right direction. So I think we have the leaders to do that. We are going into this field. We're going into Doak Campbell Stadium on Saturday in order to fight for what it is that these players need, and that's to go to the next level. Regardless if you can get there or not, that's what they're fighting for. And if you can have the Tommies and the Deuce Robinsons be able to pull everybody together to do that, we're going to see a good result on Saturday.
All right. Tell us about NLS Cleaning. Tell us about your business right here in Jacksonville.
Yeah. NLS Cleaning, we do exterior pressure washing. We do window cleaning, interior window cleaning, paver sealing, and repairs. We are here for your residential, commercial needs. Reach out to us at 904-708-8802. You can also reach out to us on our website at nlscleaning.net. And we're here to help with whatever you guys need. If you have questions about anything, reach out to us. And If it's dirty, we'll make it purdy.
Now Lawrence Stample. He is our Florida State analyst right here on 92.5